Hello and welcome. It is 5 o'clock. It is the 26th day of September 2021. In case you weren't paying attention, I was just streaming with the maniacs over at Legion of Myth. And a lot of topics came up about hit points and combat and additions and IPs and Gygax and stuff I need to address independently. But there was one little thing that came up. Somebody mentioned that I never got a chance to go back to on the stream, so I thought I'd address it now. It was my buddy Marhawkman asked, when editions changed, how would you fix adventures? Like, could you run classic BX first edition adventures in 4th edition? Or could you run classic, second edition adventures today? Because the math has changed. There's so much stuff in 5e that nobody ever even thought of in BX and first and advanced. And we just got the first hints of in 3rd, and then 4th is its, train. 4th is its own separate beast that just can't even be mentioned in the same sentence because it's just so different. But then we have 5th, and there's a lot of stuff in 5th that's different than 3rd. I mean, even fates have changed. And combat has changed, and now you have advantage and disadvantage and all sorts of stuff. So how could I run, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks 1E in 5E? How would I convert it? And the answer is I don't have to. It was always done for me. Now maybe you're not as around or not as aware of stuff, but whenever there was an addition change, inevitably the really classic adventures would get up-converted, either in Dragon Magazine or in a best of or in some type of anthology, or they would just re-release it under the new rules. A perfect example, of course, being Tomb of Horrors. There has been a version of Tomb of Horrors in every single solitary edition of Dungeons & Dragons in some form or another, because it's so bloody popular. And as the editions changed, the people writing it simply rewrote it to address the editions. And even today, we have Goodman Games who are taking all the classic older 1E BX adventures and upgrading them to 5th. And Wizards of the Coast has also upgraded plenty of the classic adventures to 5th. Temple of Elemental Evil became the Princes of the Apocalypse. My favorite, G1, G2, G3, the Giant series, became my 3rd favorite 5th edition adventure, Storm King's Thunder. So it's done. And Paizo did the same thing. There's plenty of Paizo adventures which are homages to classic 1E BX adventures. So it was never a concern for people, because we knew inevitably Expedition, Tomb of Horrors, whatever, Secret of Salt Marsh would be upgraded in some form or another. It just showed us, even in the early days, once it switched editions to another edition, inevitably, if the module was important enough, interesting enough, clever enough, or had enough name recognition value, we would see a new version of it. I mean, again, there's a version, at least one, if not 2 versions of Tomb of Horrors for every edition. Even 4E has a Tomb of Horrors. And there's Beyond Tomb of Horrors and Beyond White Plume Mountain and Beyond Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. And all of them have been rehashed so many times, it was never a concern. Now, in other games, that might have been a problem, because mechanics changed and something, but the one thing Wizards of the Coast has done well is at least, milking old ideas and bringing them up to the current day. I mean, even Tomb of Annihilation is basically Isle of Dread. Just an upscaled, way more deadly take on Isle of Dread. And, Isle of Dread is just to take on the idea of a hex crawl island, and you put it on an island so they can only go to so many places, and that's a perfect setting for a D&D game because you don't really have to worry about anything other than that entire island. So Marhawkman, it was never an issue because everything was eventually upscaled, and usually by the company that did it in one form or another. So that's it. There are some other stuff I need to go over from this week. Apparently there was some hullabaloo that happened on Friday about Gygax and D&D and stuff, and I need to watch it and address some of the issues that some were brought up, or not. I could completely ignore them, but I'm not going to do that now. Just thought I'd talk about this because it's Sunday, and who wants to talk about anything serious at 5 o'clock on a Sunday evening? If you appreciate this content and want to see more, or maybe talk more about the history of this amazing hobby, let me know. And if you never want me to talk about this ever again, let me know. As of today, we are at 500 subs, which means if we can keep 500 subs till Tuesday, I will do the tour of Seth Games at Anime as promised. Till next time, I am the tabletop role-playing game Love Train that is the OGGM. Talk to you later.